Welcome to Santa Clarita Weekly, where we cover all things local in Santa Clarita Valley every Saturday morning at 9 on KQRU 107.9. Join hosts Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty as they uncover the latest news, events, sports highlights, and more, keeping you connected and engaged with what matters most in our hometown.
Welcome back for another edition of Santa Clarita Weekly with Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty. I'm Sage. He's Tim. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. We are also in YouTube and Instagram, and you can find us on SantaClaritaStar.com. The Environmental Protection Agency hit the Chiquita Canyon Landfill with a citation for violating the Federal Clean Air Act and causing air and soil pollution in nearby communities. The landfill has yet to respond to the violation notice. Saugus High graduate and four-time Olympic medalist Abbey Weitzel is competing in the U.S. Olympic swim trials in Indianapolis. She is entered in the 50-meter and 100-meter freestyle events and is looking to make her third U.S. Olympic team. So in the Dodgers news, the Dodgers struggled against the visiting Texas Rangers, won 2 of 3 games against the Kansas City Royals, but lost Mookie Betts and Yoshinobu Yamamoto to injuries. When they return is anyone's guess. So let's start out and talk about the Chiquita Canyon Landfill. So the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, notified the operators and owner of the Chiquita Canyon Landfill it is in violation of the Federal Clean Air Act, the latest in a long list of violations by the landfill. The latest violation is for excessive toxic air emissions. The air pollution the landfill is creating is leading to toxic chemicals being released in nearby communities. In a letter dated June 4th, the EPA informed the operators and the owner of the landfill, Waste Connections, is creating pollution that leads to smog and causes lung damage. The landfill is also releasing benzene into the air and is in violation of its operating permit for emitting high levels of toxic gases. The landfill has yet to respond to the latest violation notice. It's the first time the EPA has issued a violation to the landfill. The EPA has been leading a multi-agency task force to monitor the landfill, which has been the source of thousands of complaints for months. The South Coast Air Quality Management District has received more than 15,000 complaints about the landfill from nearby residents since January 2023. The South Coast Air Quality Management District has received more than 15,000 complaints about the landfill from nearby residents since January 2023. Cal EPA, the State Department of Toxic Substance Control, and the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board have also issued violation notices to the Chiquita Canyon landfill in recent months. In the notice sent by the EPA earlier this month, it states the landfill failed to maintain and operate air pollution control equipment in a manner consistent with good air pollution control practice for minimizing emissions. So in March, the Water Quality Control Board denied the landfill's request to expand operations in its East Canyon project. The landfill applied for the expansion on January 4th, 2022. The Water Control Board sent a letter dated March 1st informing the operators of the rejection. The Department of Toxic Substance Control cited the operators on February 21st for transporting toxic waste pumped from soil from the landfill to a facility in Gardena not permitted to accept it. The EPA issued a statement in February saying the landfill presents a quote, imminent and substantial endangerment, end quote, to air and water pollution. So Congressman Mike Garcia released a video this month talking about the landfill and his response to that landfill, or his office's response to that landfill. He said that he thought state and local officials are not doing enough to deal with the landfill Let's listen to Mike Garcia's comments.
I want to focus on Chiquita Canyon this week. I know I'm here in D.C., but the primary issue and the thing that's keeping me up at night back in the district is this Chiquita Canyon Landfill. This is affecting the folks in Valverde, Castaic, a lot of folks now, even throughout the western side of Santa Clarita. And I want to talk about what's going on, what I'm doing from the federal level to make sure that we're getting this mitigated and hopefully taken care of soon. But you know, from day one, what I've been saying is that we should be shutting down operations at Chiquita Canyon until we get to the root cause of what's causing this reaction site, which is what even the operators are calling it, until we actually mitigate the reaction site. And then we hold those accountable if indeed someone did something either with malfeasance or you know, to cover up the problem. So shut it down, reprogram workers who are working the normal landfill operations into the reaction site so that we can get more head count into the reaction site and figure this out. What's happening is that the operating temperature below the surface of the landfill is at about 350 degrees, and a normal landfill is about 250 degrees. So the thermal characteristics of this are off the charts. The earth is sinking about 1 foot per month instead of what would normally be 6 inches to a foot per year at a normal landfill. So there's definitely something going on, and our residents are not only smelling it, but they're feeling it as well. And there's been some serious health repercussions with the citizens in Valverde, Castaic, and the surrounding area. So this is a real problem, and frankly, the county, with all due respect to the folks at the county, have not been addressing this aggressively and as quickly as they needed to be. We are not getting the support from the county health office. We are not getting the support from the state public health offices. We need them to be more engaged. They are, they being the EPA now at the federal level, and Chiquita are putting in more sensors, more monitors, they're laying down more tarps, and so they are starting to mitigate it, but we're not getting the support to the community still as fast as we need to do. What am I doing at the federal level? One, we've gotten the EPA involved, all right? This is the Federal Environmental Protection Agency that has come in and has acted like the adult in the room now when it comes to oversight of this problem. They have said very clearly in the public hearings that this is a real problem and that they need to sort this out. So that's a good thing. I'm also trying to lean on the county to make sure that they're getting more involved and that we're getting more support. We're also looking at additional sites, either in California or outside of our state, to where Chiquita Canyon Landfill Company can actually take trucks of leachate to these sites. And right now they're gathering the leachate, they're putting it in trucks, and they have not enough places to go to dump and store this leachate. And so we're working to help the landfill find more capacity somewhere for either storage or for dumping and ultimately disposal in other states or within California. And then the last thing that we're doing, it's a little sensitive to talk about, but we are working with federal agencies to get national assets involved to help us characterize exactly what is going on in the atmospheres above the landfill, so that we have actual data that's characterizing the benzene levels and the VOCs. We can see the movements, the patterns, the influence of the winds and the weather on what's going on there. I can't go into too much detail on that. It's a little sensitive, but just know that I'm leveraging.
So, yeah, I think it's notable that Congressman Garcia praised the EPA's actions with the landfill. House Republicans voted to cut the EPA's budget by 39% for the 2024 fiscal year. But in April, Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo, who is the Assemblywoman in over Santa Clarita Valley and including the landfill, but she released a video in April talking about the landfill and what her office is doing for residents who are affected. Let's listen to that right now.
Hi, this is Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo. I wanted to report back to the community about a tour I did today at Chiquita Canyon Landfill. We were able to see the work that's happening on site and ask all the questions that we had. One of the things that we saw were the many wells that are being drilled. They're working on getting up to 140 wells and pumping out the leachate and the gases at the same time to remove them as quickly as possible from the area that's the smoldering event. This is going to both tanks that are being held on site. The leachate is being treated to make sure it's not toxic and then transported off site to be treated again. The gases are going to directly to either the power plant, where certain gases can be used to create power that actually goes into the grid and generates power for 10,000 homes in our community. And then the gases that cannot be used are burned off in a flare at 99.9%. And we were able to see the ground covering, the covering that's being put around the inactive part of the area where the event is happening, and see some of that has already been covered. There have been some delays in the rest of it being covered. It's probably delayed around approximately 10 days because of additional surveying of the space that they need to do to make sure that it's safe for people and large equipment to go on and do the work. And so the requirements for that just got increased in terms of severity that they wanted to address and assess. And so they have to redo that assessment now, which is pushing it back about a week. There's also expected to be rain this weekend, which could delay for a few days. And so originally there was the hoping that all of the covering would be installed at the end of the month. I would expect that that's probably going to go into the beginning of May now, if we're being realistic about when that's going to happen. Another thing that we learned about is, so much leachate is being taken out, but unfortunately there's not a lot of treatment facilities that are taking it or have capacity to take it. And so we're hoping that, the state can be helpful to help increase capacity and help find other locations where it can be taken to, because it's one thing to pump it out, but if you don't have anywhere to take it to and get treated as quickly as you need to, they can't even pump at their maximum capacity right now because they don't have a location to offload it to. So that's one of the challenges I think that's really facing the work right now, and that's one that we want to work to help address. And we are going to be working directly with them, directly with our state agencies, to continue to make sure that we're doing as much as we can to address this crisis. We do now, all of the agencies that are working on this issue, both state agencies and the federal EPA that's overseeing all of the agencies, actually have a team on site and are working on site. They have weekly meetings where they're working directly with the operator to address what work needs to happen in the next week, what's happened in the past week. So there is constant communication and coordination happening between all the regulatory agencies to make sure that work is happening appropriately, safely, and our community is protected. And so that's going to continue to be a priority for us and the state to be as engaged and involved as possible and make sure that we can help move this work along as quickly as possible. And at the end of the day, community safety, protecting our environment is our priority, and we're going to make sure that we do that.
All right. So, Tim, I know the Castaic Union School District decided to table a motion for a resolution about the Chiquita Canyon landfill this week. Can you talk more about that?
Right. Yeah. So the Castaic Union School District is drafting a resolution about the landfill, and they were prepared to announce it, to release it at their last meeting, but they tabled that action, that motion, saying that they wanted more information. They wanted more information and needed more time. And they pointed to the latest violation notice by the EPA for the reason why they wanted more information. They want to make sure that the information in the violation matches the resolution language that they're trying to put together. So the district, the district obviously is going to make an announcement about the dangers of the landfill being so close to their schools. But I don't know why they need to take so much time to be careful with the language. I know they really don't want to cause too much of a controversy about it, but it's a controversial topic, and it's something that the school district probably should have addressed earlier. And waiting, I don't know what good it does to wait to put out a resolution saying that the pollution the landfill is creating is bad for the kids, it's bad for the staff, and it's bad for the community. But anyhow, they plan on having a resolution ready possibly at their next meeting, maybe 2 meetings from now. And I understand that they just want to be careful with the language that's in the resolution.
You are listening to KQRU 107.9 in Santa Clarita. You can listen to Santa Clarita Weekly on Saturday mornings at 9 and on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or wherever you get podcasts. So let's switch gears here. Let's talk about sports. And we're going to be talking about the U.S. Olympic swim trials. So Abbey Weitzel, who was on the Saugus High swim team and has competed in 2 Summer Olympic Games, is in Indianapolis for the U.S. swim trials. She has already won 4 Olympic medals, 1 gold, 2 silvers, and a bronze. She competed in the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro and the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. In Tokyo, she won a silver medal and a bronze medal as part of the freestyle relay and medley relay teams. In Rio, she won a gold medal as part of the freestyle relay team and silver medal in the medley relay team. And she won the 100 freestyle in the U.S. Olympic trials in 2021 in 53.53 seconds and was 8th in the 100 free at the Olympics. In preparation for the U.S. Olympic swim trials, Weitzel entered the Southern California Invitational in Irvine. She was second to newcomer Corey Husk in the Southern California Invitational meet in May. Husk won the race with a 53.33 seconds. Weitzel won second with 53.56 seconds. Husk also won the 50 free at the Southern California Invitational by 24.41 seconds. Weitzel was second in 24.50 seconds. Weitzel's competing in the 50 free and the 100 free at the U.S. Olympic trials. The top 6 swimmers in the 100 freestyle earn spots on the U.S. Olympic relay teams. Weitzel has the 4th fastest time in the 50 freestyle this year. Kate Douglas recorded the fastest time in 23.91 seconds. Gretchen Walsh has the 3rd fastest time this year in 24.29 seconds. In high school, Weitzel won the CIF Southern Section swim championships and set the national high school records in the 50 free and 100 free in her junior year. She broke her own record in the 100 freestyle in her senior year. So Tim, based on her current ranking, which is I think 4th in the 50 meter freestyle, how likely is it for Abbey to qualify for the Olympics in that event?
Yeah, so the 50 freestyle is not her strongest event, which is kind of a little misleading because she's still a top 5 swimmer in the 50 freestyle among U.S. swimmers. So she's one of the top 50 freestyle swimmers, 50 meter freestyle swimmers, but only the top 2 will go to the Olympics. And right now, I mean, she's within a few hundredths of a second of the top time in the country this year, the top woman who's competing in this event this year. But if she's not in the top 2 after the U.S. Olympic swim trials, she won't compete in the 50 freestyle at the Olympics, which isn't a knock on her. She will probably make the team in the 100 freestyle, most likely in the relays, but she still has a shot to make it as an individual. But the 50 freestyle, she would need to have one of her best races of the year, maybe one of the best races of her career to get a spot on the team in the 50 freestyle.
All right, so let's switch topics and let's talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers. So it was a costly series for the Dodgers against the visiting Kansas City Royals. The Dodgers won 2 of the 3 games against the Royals, but starter Yoshinobu Yamamoto and shortstop Mookie Betts were injured in the series, and they might be out for a while. So Yamamoto left the second game of the series, a game the Dodgers lost 7-2. After 2 innings, he was placed on the injured list after the game with tightness in his tricep. The Dodgers pushed back his scheduled start date a day earlier but the team did not say if it was because Yamamoto was injured. For now, Yamamoto is going to take a little time off to heal and rest, but his injury might be a little more serious than soreness. Is if his rotator cuff is injured, that could mean he needs surgery and could be lost for more than a couple of weeks. It would be a big blow to the Dodgers rotation. Yamamoto has been one of the best pitchers on the Dodgers and an expensive addition coming from Japan. When he left the game against the Royals, Yamamoto had a 6-2 record, was 6th in the National League in ERA at 2.92, and tied for 12th in the National League in strikeouts with 84. If that wasn't enough bad news, Betts was hit by a pitch in the third game of the series and fractured his hand. He is going to be out for maybe a month or two recovering. So Betts has been one of the best hitters on the Dodgers and in the National League since day one. He was also moved to shortstop to fill a gap in the infield by the Dodgers weren't quite expecting. When Betts was taken out of the game, he was hitting 3.04, 6th in the National League, and 86 hits, 3rd in the National League. So the Dodgers won the game 3-0. Hart High graduate Tyler Glasnow had another impressive outing, pitching 7 shutout innings with 9 strikeouts. After the game, he was leading the National League in strikeouts with 125. He also won his 7th game of the year. Shohei Ohtani gave Glasnow all the offense he needed, hitting 2 solo home runs in the game. And the Dodgers started the series on a winning note too. Freddie Freeman broke a 3-3 tie with an RBI single in the 8th inning, and the Dodgers won 4-3. So the Dodgers are 44-29 in 73 games and have an 8-game lead in the National League West standings over the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers are on the road to play the Rockies in Colorado next and come home for a weekend series against the Los Angeles Angels. So, Tim, what was exactly that specific injury for Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and what are maybe 2 possible timelines for his recovery?
Yeah, so Yamamoto left the game. He had soreness in his tricep, and the initial diagnosis is that it is just a strain. It's either a pulled muscle or a bruised muscle, but he also has possibly an injured shoulder, and if it's a rotator cuff injury, it's going to need more than rest and time off to get him back to 100% healthy. If he does have a tear or his rotator cuff is damaged in any way, it's going to take him a while to recover from that, and it's possible that he might need surgery. So he's still in the examination stage. They're still trying to figure out exactly what the injury is. There really hasn't been any new news on him, but it could be a lot worse than just a sore tricep, just a sore muscle. And if they lose Yamamoto for any length of time, it's going to hurt the pitching staff. It's going to hurt the rotation a lot.
Okay, so what are Mookie Betts' batting stats at the time of his injury, and how irreplaceable is he to the Dodgers lineup?
Right. Now, this is a big blow, because when Mookie Betts got hurt, when Mookie Betts broke his hand, he was in the conversation for MVP, and he's been one of the best hitters in baseball since the first series in Korea, when they started out in Korea. He's been the best leadoff hitter in baseball. He's the hitter he's the guy that gets the Dodgers offense going. He has one of the highest batting averages in the league. He was in contention for a batting championship, and on top of everything else, he is usually the one who can get on base, score the first few runs of the game for the Dodgers. He's the one that definitely gets the other hitters a chance, give the other hitters a chance to drive in some runs and to give his pitchers some runs to work with during games. So it's a big loss. I mean, it's a big loss in the lineup, a big loss in the batting order. And, it was mentioned, we mentioned it before, he filled in at shortstop when the Dodgers were out of shortstops. He's usually in right field. He's a Gold Glove outfielder, and he volunteered to play shortstop for the team because they were out of options. They didn't have anybody to play. So he's been a big addition, a big help on the defense. He's playing out of position, and he's been playing out of position at a level that not many people thought he could play at. So he's played a decent shortstop, but he's been an exceptional hitter all year long, and having him out of the lineup for any duration of time, that's going to hurt a lot.
So how statistically significant were Yamamoto's contributions to the Dodgers pitching staff?
Right. So there's another one too, where Yamamoto, I think, early on was trying to adjust to the major leagues. He came over from Japan. He was the best pitcher in Japan. It was, there was no question about how good he was in that league. But he took a while to get adjusted to major league travel, major league games, major league stadiums. There was even talk that the ball that the major leagues use is different than the ball they use in Japan. So he had to get used to a new texture, a new, type of ball to use for his pitches. And so he needed time to adjust a little bit and get comfortable pitching at the major league level. And he was there. He was definitely showing he had dominant stuff, and his statistics were some of the best in the league. He started out a little slow. He had some troubles early on, but those went away quickly. And after the first couple starts, 2 or 3 starts in the major leagues, he was very comfortable, and he was starting to become one of the best pitchers in the National League. So it's another big loss. It's another big loss for the Dodgers to have him out, and especially when it looked like he was getting very comfortable and becoming a dominant pitcher in the National League.
All right. Well, hopefully Yoshinobu, Yamamoto, and Mookie Betts both recover very quickly. But that's our show. So tune in next week for more discussions about the news from Santa Clarita. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM at 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings. You can also watch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and listen to us on SantaClaritaStar.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a comment and be sure to subscribe to Santa Clarita Weekly online. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Santa Clarita Weekly. You can watch the show on Santa Clarita Star's YouTube channel and Facebook page, as well as listen in on the radio at KQRU 107.9. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com for more content and tune in right here to KQRU 107.9. A new voice for Santa Clarita.